Your energy bills are going up again. That's what happens when you put this numpty in charge.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
Ed Miliband said a vote for Labour would be a vote to bring your bills down.
Only Labour offers a plan for real change to cut energy bills for good with GB Energy, our new publicly owned energy company.
Keir Starmer said a vote for Labour would be a vote to bring your bills down.
We want to, as you rightly say, set up Great British Energy. That's a publicly funded, a publicly owned company which is owned by the taxpayer, making money for the taxpayer by investing in clean British power. Now, clean British power is, renewables, which is about a third of the price of fossil fuels at the moment, and that ought to bring down the household bills by about £400.
Oh, £400. And so far, they've betrayed you. The energy price cap has been raised by 6.4%. It could cost you about 111 quid a year more. Bills have now risen several times under Labour, and at this rate, they'll probably go up again. While our Energy Secretary, known behind the scenes as Wallace without the grommet, spends his time doing social media videos aimed at children.
2008, Barack Obama has been elected President of the United States. Usain Bolt is breaking records at the Beijing Olympics, and Batman is dominating at the box office. And I'm the Energy Secretary. Yes, like Batman, I've returned.
There's other things that return that you don't particularly want, to be fair. But anyway, people in Britain are freezing to death. Donald Trump says,
"Will drill, baby, drill."
Ed Miliband and Keir Starmer say, "Bill, baby, bill." In fact, Ed Miliband's own team now finally admit that his net zero obsession will make your bills even higher in the short term. He didn't say that during the election, did he? Labour said GB Energy would swoop in and make us all better, create loads of jobs. Now we see the pillock in charge of GB Energy and we think, hang on a minute, what even is this thing?
Yes, it will help bring energy prices down.
When?
Well, it's a matter for government and policy to decide.
But as the boss of this and as someone who is driving forward the ambition of the government, you surely have an idea in your head of when that central pledge to the people of reducing their bills by £300 will come into action.
It is not in the remit of Great British Energy to work out exactly how that energy costing gets through to the consumer.
Honest, have you ever seen a man more out of his depth? Oh, grief. Anyway, let's have a look and see who's on the board of GB Energy, and it includes former trade unionist, someone who was in charge of Crossrail, I think, as well, which I believe came in late and over budget. Don't let Ed Miliband make excuses for you and your loved ones being poorer and colder.
The news that energy bills are rising is going to be worrying for many families. It's happening because we're so reliant on fossil fuels, in particular gas. And the markets that determine the price of those fossil fuels are controlled by the decisions of petrostates and dictators. So we've seen a 15% rise in the price of wholesale gas.
He is reportedly a millionaire himself. In fact, in that clip, I felt like he had quite a nice suntan there. I just wonder if he went away over half term. I wonder if he did, and if so, how did he get there? But anyway, whatever. But don't let that champagne socialist make excuses. This is on him. We have discovered a gas field that could fuel the UK for a decade, and he won't touch it. Instead, he's going to get wind farms from China, despite the former MI6 chief warning against it. Ed Miliband holds the rare accolade of being a rubbish energy secretary not once but twice, and also being one of the worst people to ever run for Prime Minister. His entire professional life has been one of political failure. He has failed upwards. He said that he's freeze your bills. The only thing he's freezing is you. Let's get thoughts on my panel this evening. We have GB News presenter Alex Armstrong. We also have senior reporter at Guido Fawkes, Ellie Wheatley, and political commentator and journalist Jonathan Liss. Alex, I mean, surely Ed Miliband has to shoulder some of the responsibility here, whilst your bills are going up again and again and again, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, the problem I've got with this, Patrick, is it's clearly a choice. You highlighted that gas field, which I believe could fund the entire UK's gas supply every single out of it for 7
and bring jobs to Lincolnshire.
And bring a massive amount of capital, jobs and everything else. And he's choosing not to do it. They're just ignoring. We're sitting on it, right? We're just ignoring the fact that we have this incredible resource. And instead we're going with this expensive carbon capture plant, which is going to cost us the same size as the black hole, £23 billion. You are being forced to suffer for net zero zealotry. It's pretty clear to anyone who's seeing their energy bills go up. And you've also been lied to, because that manifesto pledge was pretty crystal clear.
Ellie, what's your view on this? I mean, do you think that Ed Miliband has just basically conned us?
Yeah, well, I think this is just another example of net zero not working, not being affordable, not being achievable. Analysts today pointed to the fact that, low wind power contributes towards this. We rely on imports, etc. We've just concreted over our last UK shale gas wells, which Lord McKinley, the bionic lord, said it was Ed playing into Putin's hands. Last month, we were on the verge of blackouts because there wasn't enough wind or sun to produce energy. And meanwhile, last year, bill payers paid £1 billion to wind farms to switch off turbines when there was too much energy because the national grid didn't have the capacity to hold it. So it's complete farce. Also, by the way, this idea that Ed's been touting that net zero and growth go hand in hand has actually been shredded by Labour's own side. Tony Blair's think tank literally came out saying that Labour's promise in their manifesto, again, that the net zero will deliver 650,000 jobs by 2030, canned. They say on this trajectory it will be 350,000 by 2050, and that the government should not be focusing so much on green energy and more on our grey industry.
Well, let's bring Jonathan in here, because, it's about time that someone stood up for Ed Miliband. I've made the case that he's a political failure. I stand by that based on his record, really. I mean, do you think we're being led here in an environmental sense by someone who is just a complete dud?
No, I don't think he's a complete dud. He's been in office for 7 months, and Labour never said that bills were going to come down within 7 months of taking power. Clearly, this is a long-term objective. If we agree with the basic point that climate change is real, which the vast majority of people and obviously scientists say is, just sort of fact, then we have to do something about it, and we have to also, lead by example if we want bigger countries to do their bit as well. Obviously, we can't do it alone. So that means that we do have to have real targets and not just talk about what we're going to do 10 years from now, but actually do it now. So that means investing in green and clean energy and sort of making it an investment so we can actually get jobs.
It didn't say in the election, though, that in the short term,
but
your bills are going up.
It's not Ed Miliband that's deciding right now what bills are going to be. It is Ofgem, which is like
which the government can control. The Tories famously put a cap on it.
Which was condemned. Which, when Labour wanted that, was condemned as Marxism by the Tories.
Well, funnily enough, Keir Starmer's now more right wing than Tories.
No, I tell you, you should be supporting him then, shouldn't you?
No, I'm not. Well, I don't support that kind of capital economics. But however, the point is that Keir Starmer, this is a choice. You're being made to suffer. They can stop this. They can stop your energy bills going through all-time highs. And let's not forget the elderly, who are being the seniors of this country, who have paid their taxes their entire life, who've had that taken away from them.
Well, I disagree. I disagree, and I've said I disagree with that many times.
One, for net zero, which they didn't vote for. Two, for
Alex, a lot of the problem here, and you were just mentioning this, Ellie, a second ago, about the national grid just doesn't have the capacity, and also part of the responsibility of this has to... It's because the Conservatives got rid of so much of our energy storage facilities in the last government.
The Tories are certainly to blame.
I'm just saying, it's very difficult to think that we can achieve 95% net zero now, because obviously Ed has backtracked on that. But in 5 years' time, or is it 4 years' time?
Yeah, 4 years.
It's impossible. How's that going to happen? And by the way, there is a sort of war in the cabinet at the moment going on. Net zero versus growth. You had Reeves and Starmer obviously expanding the Heathrow Airport, which Ed famously is vastly against. Now there's Starmer and Reeves are looking to give the green light to the two of UK's biggest oil and gas projects, Rosebank and Jackdaw. Again, Ed is not happy about that.
Yeah.
So they have to, give something, because when voters see their bills going up, they're not going to vote them in again.
By it. I'm sorry, but Ed Miliband is not touched by it. So reportedly a millionaire. I think he has a very nice life, a very comfortable life. He could probably... And also, if he does have a second home, we will be paying, no doubt, for the heating in the second home, as we are doing for several other MPs and cabinet ministers as well. So I don't think they're really touched by this. And I think that's a bit hypocritical.
Yeah, that's the same. It's the liberal London elite, isn't it? The Islington elite, which are, of course, never touched by the issues that the people they tax, same as the farmers. But interestingly,
like Boris Johnson, you mean?
Well, sure. But interestingly, Ed Miliband, he ran that organisation. He's got that organisation that allegedly he is the head of, that he funds, and he gets all these reports from them. I mean, he can't be getting good information from these people who he's clearly bankrolling.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be these bankrolling people, but I'd take your point at face value. Look, I think this is quite astonishing, really, because there was a clip that we played in the 9pm anyway, which was Keir Starmer talking about how Labour has a fully costed plan to freeze your energy bills. Labour has a fully costed plan to freeze your energy bills. And now they are in power. There will be people, Ellie, who voted for the Labour Party specifically because they thought that Labour were going to bring their bills down. And here they are, they're going up again.
Absolutely. I mean, this is also just a string of U-turns that Labour have made. Yeah. I mean, again, they basically won on a lot of sort of lies, as it were. Not taxing working people. As we've seen, the NICS hikes is actually directly impacting working people, etc. All of those sort of promises that have been completely... I mean, they talk about not trusting the Tory parties. How can you trust Labour?
Yeah. I don't think that anyone was voting, or very few people would have been voting on that pledge alone.
Cost of living, it's the Economist.
Yes, look, if you get to the stage where we had in 2022, where, you have gas and electricity as such an overwhelming component of the cost of living, then obviously the government will step in, just as Liz Truss did. I mean, the one thing I supported Liz Truss for was that thing that she did the day before the Queen died, so everyone got the rebate. That was obviously a necessary thing to do. We're not at that crisis stage right now. If we do get close to that, then obviously the government will have to step in.
They're still going to be £600 more a year than they were in 2022. Before the Ukraine crisis.
Can I just ask, why is Labour, and Ed Miliband specifically, and Keir Starmer no doubt, so obsessed with making sure that we are self-sufficient, energy self-sufficient, but they're going to hammer farmers and put us in a situation where we're going to have to import our food? We might be, in the time of a great war, we might have enough solar panels to keep the lights on. We won't have anything to eat, will we?
Well, I don't think that most experts say that this is not going to affect food security, the inheritance tax issue. And you can disagree about the remit of that, or the limits of that inheritance tax policy, but really that's to close a tax loophole, as we said, about people passing on land that they didn't buy to produce food with anyway. So food security, obviously that's a long-term goal of the country as well. We import a lot of our food. That's not going to change anytime soon.
OK. Just when it comes to the credibility of this Labour government, just to round us off here on this particular one, I think it takes quite a lot of brass neck, actually, for Ed Miliband to come out and keep releasing these TikTok videos and whatever else he's doing, talking about how, green energy, we're going to create loads of jobs, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to bring your bills down. And then time and time again, he has to come out and release a video going, sorry, your bill's going up again. I'm sorry we haven't created any jobs yet. I mean, they've actually made more people, significantly more people, to the tune of thousands, unemployed as a result of their net zero policy so far than they have actually created any single jobs.
It's complete, must be deeply embarrassing. Any reasonable or honest politician be embarrassed to roll themselves out election campaign and 14 years of opposition saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we promise you can make this country better, only for things to get worse while they're in government when they can do something about it. I think that's what really upsets average British people. They just see what you promised versus what you deliver.
He's got the classic posh bloke sense of entitlement, Ed Miliband. Why should he have a job? Why does he have a job? He's been useless.
He didn't go to private school.
Edstone. Yeah, you know where that is now? It's in a pub garden in Kensington.
Yeah, and the guy who made it,
legacy.
The guy whose idea that Edstone was is now in the Treasury. Just so you know, he's the minister, which is great because he's full of good ideas.
How on earth is this guy?
I was more upset about the cut immigration mugs. To be honest, that was what really hurt me.
He's got a proven track record of failure, and this guy stands up and we're expected to listen to him. I mean, seriously, how many flights has he done recently as well? I mean, just absolutely shocking.
Well, he's a government minister. He has to travel.
He went to Brazil to talk about net zero. He could have zoomed in. Come on.
Well, he wasn't going to take a boat, was he?
I mean, if you really believe in it that much, you're willing for the British public to suffer. Well. Yeah, maybe we'll do a Zoom call, guys.
Anyway, right, OK.